Hello, you're watching Global Insight, where we speak to experts from around the world on issues making headlines. Now, we're living in times of rapid change and lingering uncertainty, especially after emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic and now dealing with economic troubles and geopolitical instability. The outlook on the global business environment seems rather bleak. The heydays of globalization seem long gone, with workers also pessimistic about finding new job opportunities. But can we turn this crisis into new opportunities? To answer this question, we have the pleasure of inviting Bob CAHILL, Chief Executive Officer at GP, who joins us in our studio in Seoul today. A very warm welcome to you, Bob. Thank you so much for coming all the way here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right, it's lovely to see you. And well, throughout your career, you've been known to launch some very innovative startups in America with very successful exit strategies. And well, first of all, I want to ask you, what's your secret?
Well, thank you. I think I'm very passionate about software and technology and how it can enable businesses to grow faster. And when you have that passion, that really leads to success. And so that's sort of been really the secret is leveraging software and technology to either improve society or move business forward at a very rapid pace.
I see. And well, during these times, I mean, we're seeing just spiking inflation, economic uncertainty, and basically every country, and geopolitical uncertainty as well, trade wars. During these times, it seems rather difficult for companies to keep on expanding and, looking at interests over their own borders. But so the outlook really seems rather pessimistic. But I believe you see some, light on the end of the tunnel, and you recently released a report regarding this.
Absolutely.
If you could elaborate on that.
Sure. Well, I've been through a few of these cycles in my career, and certainly we're facing some headwinds, or anticipating headwinds as much as reality right now. But what I found is the best companies are bunkering in the near term and kind of, being more thoughtful about their investments in hiring. But the best companies tend to be looking past the current cycle into the future. And our recent 2022 CFO survey sort of validated that, if you will. And so we talked to them about how they're planning both near and long term. And certainly in the long term, I think this survey is among companies with over 100 million in annual revenue. And in that survey, amongst in APAC, 77% of the CFOs surveyed were anticipating significant investment in international expansion as they're doing their planning. And of that same cohort of surveyed CFOs, 92% that their talent strategy was going to revolve around work from anywhere strategies.
I see. And well, one of the perks of globalization that we saw in the past was really the free flow of not only goods and capital, but people, really, and people finding new job opportunities abroad, finding talent from abroad. But since the global financial crisis, we've seen sort of a backlash against globalization, and more and more countries, their governments really encouraging companies to produce domestically and also hire locally. And well, then how are you finding solutions to this kind of sentiment, I suppose, that's really worsened with lockdowns we had over the pandemic?
Absolutely. Well, we actually found in our business that the lockdown became a bit of an accelerant in some ways for how you look at finding talent, because remote work forced CEOs to, because they couldn't expand or bring people into the country or use expat strategies, that they were accepting remote work and as a new model. What we find in our business, though, is actually very beneficial for a model with an employer of record model like we have in a platform, because it's actually bi-directional in that we're helping countries that want to expand, for example, want to expand into Korea. We can help them find talent in Korea, but also at the same time, Korean companies that are looking to expand their market share use the same platform on an outbound basis. So really, it becomes a win-win in that you're getting a good balance of both internal and external talent, talent and growth.
And well, to turn your attention to what's happening locally here in South Korea, the South Korean job market, there's been a general mismatch of jobs and workers available, and there's just been a chronic level of youth unemployment. And what kind of opportunities do you see for South Korea's labour market?
Absolutely. Well, it a little bit goes back to that matching is very interesting, because if a Korean company is looking to hire and they can't quite find the match of the talent in the talent pool, they can look internationally, and similar companies that are looking to go into can find that talent. So if the match is simply domestic, it's a little harder, but when you sort of broaden it to the whole globe, is a much better match. Additionally, we're seeing that the ways people are working is changing. So where you might have seen very traditional salaried individual in big corporations, a lot of talented individuals want more flexibility, more of the gig worker economy. And actually, we've actually developed a module within our platform that allows for that. So if you want a traditional employment contract, we certainly can do that. If you want to work on a contractor model, we can do the same thing, help match up employers to talent around the world.
I see. And well, how do you see South Korea's potential as a future sort of business hub in Asia? I mean, what brings your interest to this country?
Absolutely. This is a very exciting country to work in. You've got a really well-educated, tech-savvy workforce. The government, a lot of FDI programs. So we're seeing a lot of interest from our Korean customers, to use our platform outbound. But a lot of countries, including America and Australia, want to come here to hire talent. So we think the future is quite bright.
Right, so one of the biggest complaints from foreign businesses in Korea, and I imagine every country, is really the sort of ambiguity around regulations. How do you keep up with them, and how do you really read the fine print? It's really hard sometimes. And how are you helping companies kind of overcome these issues?
Actually, the GP platform is that's really a core part of what we do, is that when successful companies, when they want to expand internationally, it's speed to market, it's go-to-market strategies, and waiting to deal with compliance, and it's really quite daunting what you need to deal with setting up an entity and getting payroll registrations and compliant contracts and benefits, and there's so many unique rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and then just cultural norms in every single market. So for companies that want to expand, they don't want to spend time in all of that. They want to go and win the market ahead of their competition. So our platform does all of that for them, all digitally. So really, they don't have to do anything. We've already set up the entities. We have all these, we have our banking and payroll and fintech and digital contracts all turnkey. So all they have to do is, and now they can hire someone in a matter of days and get up and running, rather than spending months and even up to a year, setting up an entity to get ready to go to market. And in today's environment, that just takes too long. So that's one of the big benefits we bring to our customers.
I see. And many cities, countries are looking to cities like Boston, Pittsburgh, and the Silicon Valley, of course, as models for innovation, really. And in your opinion, what makes a good startup ecosystem?
Certainly ecosystem. I think a lot of collaboration between the private sector, the governments, and the university systems. We found that's been very successful, and there's a good example. Cities like Boston, Pittsburgh, Austin, Texas, and Northern California do a lot of this. So you've got with those all working in lockstep, you find that there's a good matchup of talent and education and investment in the private sector. And so that leads to rapid innovation, which of course leads to a great business opportunity for all those parties.
Right, I see. So it's a lot of coming together, I suppose, for talent, local talent pool, businesses willing to invest, and also these very entrepreneurial people coming from universities. So a good mix of things.
Absolutely.
And what would you say is the most important part?
Well, I certainly think that, from innovation perspective, the investment community funds a lot of this. So, a robust venture capital infrastructure is critical, but you really do need cooperation from the government and cooperation, whether it's be tax or grants, or just lack of tax and things of that nature, and university programs that are actually bringing skills that the future work needs. So, whether that's software development or moving into new innovations around blockchain or artificial intelligence, things of that nature. So kind of investing ahead of the curve in talent is critical.
Oh, I see. Well, we want to talk about some of the trends that we've seen in the global business environment as well. And during the stretch of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw quite a lot of remote and IT solutions to, well, basically everyday work and, how we work as well. And what are what's your outlook on all this digitalization that we're seeing?
Absolutely. I think for us, we certainly found that while COVID was a terrible human tragedy, it was an accelerant for the ways of working and using technology to access talent around the world. So certainly from a technology perspective, our platforms like it, EOR platforms, allow companies to find great talent all over the world. But we're seeing lots of other tools. You look at companies that with like Zoom and things like that, and there's collaborative software and digital whiteboarding. So we've seen a lot of innovation around this area, and it was probably accelerated by COVID, but it's certainly the permanent, we believe to be the permanent way that it's going back to the traditional model, puts you we believe, at a competitive disadvantage. So I think we'll continue to see innovation around remote work as the core.
I see. And but the thing is, though, with digitalization, it's sort of causing quite a number of workers, especially those in Gen Z and millennials, they're losing their sense of belonging in the workplace. They feel a little isolated, they're losing motivation. And we're seeing this phenomenon that's called quiet quitting. I mean, what do you make of this kind of trend?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of facts and myth in all of that. Ultimately, we believe that, the best companies are going to focus on culture and be able to manage it's a new environment. The old ways of working are gone. So I think companies need to adapt to this new world order. If you engage your employees in a meaningful way and have a culture of inclusiveness, I think you'll find that people the quiet quitting thing really goes away, because people are motivated, and if they share a passion for your mission. But we also have to adjust. There's not going to be one perfect answer for every company. There's going to be completely remote, like Globalization Partners has chosen to do, to partially back in the office, to full back in the office. But ultimately, we believe that the best companies are going to need to access the best talent wherever it may be. So it's really an investment in your culture and engaging your employees. We'll say the one other interesting thing that came out of all of this is there's lots of studies out there that indicate that companies who have diversity in their workforce perform significantly better. And what's interesting about remote work, or in having implicitly you get a diverse workforce, which therefore kind of gives you an advantage.
I see. Before we go, if you could provide us some more details about how you're using artificial intelligence and the latest technology to really help companies and workers match together, come together.
Absolutely. So we actually focus a lot on this, and providing our customers data analytics, using AI to partially to match employees to jobs. We're also doing things like intelligent contracts and things like that, so we can actually have customers from around the world be able to employ in another jurisdiction fully compliantly with a digital contract that doesn't involve humans or lawyers. And it actually, we have things that match up language, culture, regulations, compliance. So these are the kind of innovations that we're putting in place that allow ultimately our customers to get to find talent and employ talent, but very quickly. And we talk a lot about time to value is a big concept for us that our customers really love.
Right, and on that note, thank you for making time for us today. And it was an honor to have you on our show. Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, a big thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Global Insight runs Monday through Friday here in South Korea at 9:30 a.m. Do tune in, join us when you can. Have a great day wherever you are. Goodbye.